4 degrees. It was like -3 yesterday. This Salties bit is something I heard on the radio just now, talking about sports, how professional sports are actually grooming or monitoring kids as young as 12 years old. TheRivals.com or something. I don't know anything about it, but it sparked a memory I had when I was coaching Little League. I coached 2 years with my older boy, and I believe 2 years with my younger boy, and it was a blast. The joy I had coaching Little League was watching the growth of some of these kids who, when you started the season, couldn't even hit a ball, and or didn't even want to swing at the ball till the end of the season. It's trivial to some people, but it's a momentous, I can't think of the word, but it's a huge achievement that they, during the game they hit the ball, and just to see the growth in the boys, it was phenomenal. It made me proud, not of what I did, but it made me proud of them, that they were able to achieve a level of competency that started at zero. And of course, my sons kind of lost interest, and we moved around a lot, so they didn't stick with baseball. But I still think it was a good experience for them to play team sports, learn how to deal with difficult personalities. I think is a valuable skill, soft skill, that most people don't think about. And I think that's a good Salties bit in and of itself, dealing with difficult personalities, and that's what this bit is really about. But I did want to mention what I got out of coaching baseball. But one year I was coaching, I was the I guess they called it the manager. I was the main or head coach. And believe me, I am no baseball expert, but at the level the kids were playing at, I didn't need to be. And I think a lot of parents shy away from volunteering to be anything relating to sports, is because they don't think they know enough to be able to teach some of these kids, and rightly so. Some of them probably don't want teaching your kids. But anyway, there's one particular parent. His dad worked at the same company I did. I didn't know him. He worked in a different department, but his mother was the one who signed him up for Little League, and he was a good kid. I mean, they all had their own quirks, but he was I wouldn't say a misfit, but he got different levels. You got the star of the game, or of the team, where everybody likes, and then you get the other extreme, who weren't the most athletic kid, but because he was part of the team, the other kids tolerated him. Let's put it that way. Well, this was one of those kids, and the problem wasn't really with the kids. I'll tell you that right now. Anybody who is thinking about, who has children in the age where they'll be involved with team sports, worry less about dealing with the kids and stock up on your knowledge on dealing with difficult parents. That's all I got to say about if you're thinking about doing that. But because the kids will pretty much listen to you, except your own kid. So now I'll shift to talking about the parent more than the kid. The kid was no better, no worse than any other kid to deal with. But the mom would bring the boy only to like 1 or 2 practices because she had him in other sports too. I think soccer was going on at the same time. And let's change lanes here. But when it came game time, I had worked up a roster, a starter list, and I rotated it. You know, we weren't in contention for the Little League, was it the World Series by any means. So my goal as the coach, as the manager, was to give every kid a turn to play. Every kid played 2 innings. I think we had 11 kids, 12 kids on the team, and I wanted to rotate every kid. You know, there were no stars, quote unquote, in the lineup. Every kid got the bat. Every kid got to play every position, except pitcher. Pitcher was kind of hard because it really slowed down the game if you couldn't get a kid to at least throw the ball over the plate. So we had like 3 or 4. We had 2 good pitchers and 2 kind of relief pitchers, and they didn't. I can't remember. I can't remember if we could or couldn't rotate the pitchers. You know, like take one out and then put it back in later. I can't remember if we did or didn't. But anyway, so we had 4 pitchers, but for the most part, every other position was rotated. Well, this one kid would come. Well, the parent would bring this one kid to a game late. I think we only had like 8 games. It wasn't that many. But she would bring him late, you know, and really wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say anything about it. I'd just work him into the lineup. But I can't remember if it happened more than once before it came to a head. But one game, she brought him like halfway through the game, and I had scheduled him. She didn't tell me in advance, hey, you know, my son's going to be late. Can you work him in the last part of the game? He just didn't show up to the game, so I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm replacing his spot in the lineup with another kid's spot in the lineup. Well, she comes, brings him halfway through the game, and I think it was like a playoff game or something. It was one of the important games, and he didn't get to play. And it was like the last inning, and she's like, are you gonna work my son in? And I'm like, no, because, you know, I had him worked in at the beginning, and it's not fair for the kids who were here at the beginning of the game. And she got, no, I remember what it was. I remember what it was now. That did happen. And I told her, well, I tell you what, we got 2 more innings or 3 more innings left. I'll work them in the last 2 innings or something like that. And it was the end of the bottom of the inning, and it was our at bat, or no, it was their at bat. And so we took the field, and the other coach, I heard the other coach yelling, "Hey, you 2 boys, stop it!" And I didn't see it. And the other coach called the 2 boys back, and I said, "What happened?" And he said, "Well, these 2 boys were fighting." And one of them was the other coach's kid. And the other coach said, whose other kid was fighting, said, I make them sit out. And he says, "But it's your decision. You're the manager." And I say, "If you're cool, I'm cool." So I made both the boys sit out. The one with the difficult parent and the other coach's boy, because apparently it was serious enough for them to, to be made to sit out. Anyway, after the game, man, that other parent, she was fit to be tied. And she's like, and she pulled out all the sour grapes It's like, I thought you were a good coach at the beginning of the season, and you know, I like the way you work with the boys, but I can't work with this. You know, he doesn't get to come to many games, and I just would have liked to have seen him play more in the games that he did come to. And I mean, if she could have heard herself talk, I don't know, maybe she would have or wouldn't have picked up on how I don't know, dumb she sounded. You know, and it's like, well, you want me to reward you and him for not bringing your son to all the practices that all the other kids came to, and coming to the games on time like all the other kids did. You know, and I think we actually made the playoffs. And she said, well, he's not coming to any of the playoffs. I'm sorry. And I was like, well, I'm sorry for him too. That's the way I framed it. But man, what a ride. So I've heard similar, well, not similar, I've heard other horror stories about sports parents. So that's my Salties bit for the day. I won't keep you any longer. Stay warm out there. Take care. Thanks. Bye.